Irish Fairy Tales. Chapter 43. I think, said Carol Whiteskin, that although judgment was given against Finn, it was Finn had the rights of it. He had 1,100 killed, said Conan amiably, and you may call that the rights of it if you like. All the same, Carol began argumentatively. And it was you that commenced it, Conan continued. Ho! Ho! Carol cried. Why, you are as much to blame as I am. No, said Conan, for you hit me first. And if we had not been separated, the other growled. Separated, said Conan with a grin that made his beard poke all around his face. Yes, separated. If they had not come between us, I still think. Don't think out loud, dear heart, for you and I are at peace by law. That is true, said Carol, and a man must stick by a judgment. Come with me, my dear, and let us see how the youngsters are shaping in the school. One of them has rather a way with him as a swordsman. No youngster is any good with a sword, Conan replied. You are right there, said Carol. It takes a good ripe man for that weapon. Boys are good enough with slings, Confro continued, but except for eating their fill and running away from a fight, you can't count on boys. The two bulky men turned towards the school of the Fianna. It happened that Finn Macule had summoned the gentlemen of the Fianna and their wives to a banquet. Everybody came, for a banquet given by Finn was not a thing to be missed. There was Galmor Mac Morna and his people, Finn's son Oisien and his grandson Oscar. There was Dermot of the Gay Face, Celt Mac Rona, but indeed there were too many to be told of, for all the pillars of war and battle torches of the Gael were there. The banquet began. Finn sat in the chief captain's seat in the middle of the fort, and facing him, in the place of honor, he placed the mirthful Gal Mac Morna, and from these, ranging on either side, the nobles of the Fianna took each the place that fitted his degree and patrimony. After good eating, good conversation, and after good conversation, sleep. That is the order of a banquet. So when each person had been served with food to the limit of desire, the butlers carried in shining and jeweled drinking horns, each having its tide of smooth, heady liquor. Then the young heroes grew merry and audacious, the ladies became gentle and kind, and the poets became wonders of knowledge and prophecy. Every eye beamed in that assembly, and on Finn every eye was turned continually in the hope of a glance from the great, mild hero. Gal spoke to him across the table enthusiastically. There is nothing wanting to this banquet, O chief, said he. And Finn smiled back into that eye which seemed a well of tenderness and friendship. Nothing is wanting, he replied, but a well-shaped poem. A crier stood up then, holding in one hand a length of coarse iron links and in the other a chain of delicate, antique silver. He shook the iron chain so that the servants and followers of the household should be silent, and he shook the silver one so that the nobles and poets should hearken also. Fergus, called True Lips, the poet of the Fianna Finn, then sang of Finn and his ancestors and their deeds. When he had finished, Finn and Oisien and Oscar and Mac Lugak of the Terrible Hand gave him rare and costly presents, so that every person wondered at their munificence, and even the poet, accustomed to the liberality of kings and princes, was astonished at his gifts. Fergus then turned to the side of Gal Mac Morna, and he sang of the forts, the destructions, the raids, and the wooings of Clan Morna, and as the poems succeeded each other, Gal grew more and more jovial and contented. When the songs were finished, Gal turned in his seat. Where's my runner? He cried. He had a woman runner, a marvel for swiftness and trust. She stepped forward. I am here, royal captain. Have you collected my tribute from Denmark? It is here. And, with help, she laid beside him the load of 3 men of doubly refined gold. Out of this treasure, and from the treasure of rings and bracelets and torques that were with him, Gal Mac Morna paid Fergus for his songs, and much as Finn had given, Gal gave twice as much. But, as the banquet proceeded, Gal gave, whether it was to harpers or prophets or jugglers, more than anyone else gave, so that Finn became displeased, and as the banquet proceeded he grew stern and silent.